Why do we believe what we believe? It's a question that has shaped civilizations, started wars, inspired revolutions, and even defined who we are as individuals. Belief isn't just a choice. It's a psychological engine. It drives our actions, filters our perceptions, and builds the world we think we see. From religion to politics, from science to superstition, belief is the invisible architecture of human life. As the philosopher William James once said, belief creates the actual fact. And in many ways it does, because our minds are not passive observers. They're meaning-making machines. When we believe something, our brain reorganizes reality to fit that belief. That's why two people can witness the same event and walk away with two entirely different truths. Belief isn't about what's real. It's about what feels real. But here's the paradox. Our beliefs can both save us and trap us. They give us certainty in an uncertain world, yet that same certainty can blind us. And this is where psychology steps in, asking not what we believe, but why we believe. Beliefs don't appear out of nowhere. They are built, piece by piece, from experience, emotion, memory, and culture. When we're young, our brains are like wet clay. Every word from authority figures, parents, teachers, society, leaves a mark. Over time, those marks harden into beliefs. Psychologists call this cognitive imprinting. It means the ideas we grow up with become the mental framework through which we interpret everything else. Once that framework is built, the brain doesn't like to change it. Why? Because belief offers stability. In fact, neuroscience shows that when a belief is challenged, the same brain regions that activate during physical threat, like fear or pain, light up. That's right. To the brain, being wrong hurts. So we defend our beliefs not just intellectually, but biologically. And that's why persuasion is so difficult. It's not about presenting better evidence, it's about rewiring the emotional architecture of the mind. As Carl Jung once said, people don't have ideas, ideas have people. Once a belief takes root, it shapes how we think, what we see, and even what we're capable of imagining. Our beliefs are not neutral, they are filters, and the most powerful ones are often invisible to us. Belief is one of humanity's greatest forces. It's what built pyramids, launched rockets, ended empires, and cured diseases. Every major transformation, scientific, political, spiritual, began as someone's belief that something more was possible. But here's the twist. The same power that liberates can also imprison. Belief gives meaning, yet it can just as easily justify cruelty. When people believe they're absolutely right, history shows they're capable of anything, both miraculous and monstrous. That's the paradox of belief. It can make us heroes or zealots. It can lead to compassion or to conflict. Psychology explains this through confirmation bias, our tendency to seek out only what supports our existing beliefs. It feels safer that way. But when we only listen to what confirms us, belief stops being a compass and becomes a cage. Belief can blind us to truth. It can make lies feel comforting and facts feel threatening. As Nietzsche warned, convictions are more dangerous enemies of truth than lies. Still, without belief, we'd have no motivation, no purpose, no story to live by. So the real question isn't whether we should believe, it's how we can believe more wisely. So, how do we believe without being consumed by belief itself? It begins with awareness. To believe consciously means to hold your convictions lightly, to have faith, but also humility. Because truth, as history shows, is rarely final. The psychologist Erich Fromm once said, "To have faith requires courage, the courage to accept uncertainty." And that's the essence of mature belief. It doesn't demand certainty, it coexists with doubt. When you can look at your own ideas and say, I believe this, but I might be wrong. You've already stepped out of the shadow of dogma and into the light of growth. Belief, then, becomes not a prison, but a path. It becomes an instrument, something we use, not something that uses us. It fuels curiosity instead of killing it. In the end, the psychology of belief isn't just about how our minds create truth. It's about how we can live with truths that evolve. Because to believe wisely is not to cling, but to explore. And maybe, just maybe, the most powerful belief of all is the belief that we can still change. So maybe the question isn't what we believe, but how we believe. With awareness, with humility, with the courage to let go. Because belief is not an ending, it's an ongoing act of becoming. And if we're brave enough to question what we hold true, we might just find a deeper truth waiting on the other side. If this journey made you think, stay curious. Subscribe, follow, and join me as we explore the strange, beautiful ways our minds create meaning. Because this is just the beginning of understanding why we believe and who we become because of it.